So I bet you celebrated Imbolc on February 1st and that you actually had no idea what that meant. So Imbolc is actually today, February 4th, and we're going to be talking about a little bit of history and traditions about what that is, how that date comes about, and how there are two different beings, Goddess Brigid and Saint Brigid. Same person? Perhaps, but lived in two very different times. I am Mystic Michelle, your intuitive mystic and intuitive reader, and I use my inner knowing and knowledge and of my spiritual ancestral line to help others become in line with their selves through the connection with Earth and the alignment of the seasons with Earth, because it is so much easier in this lifetime to understand when is the appropriate time to take action and when is the appropriate time to collect the abundance and when is the appropriate time to rest. And a lot of the times, especially in our culture in the United States, we tend to go against very hard of what the season is asking us to do. And so knowing this helps us understand the patterns and how we can actually start living our life more intentionally with the energies of the earth and what the energies of the earth are offering, so that we can live our life more abundantly. So to get into it, today, February 4th, is Imbolc, which is the first day of spring. What? The first day of spring? What are you talking about? I'm looking outside and it's snowing right now. How is this the first day of spring? Well, in the seasonal way, this is just what it is. It's more about the energies of the earth and the way that things are awakening. So I don't know about you, but I've been noticing that the songbirds have all of a sudden started to come out and starting to sing their songs. And I've even noticed some insects all of a sudden that are starting to awaken and fly about. And all of this is part of the awakening of spring. And so a lot of us end up celebrating this day in bulk and mix it and combined it to February 1st, St. Brigid's Day. And these 2 days are both very good celebrations to have, and they are amazing to celebrate, and the traditions are phenomenal, but it's also important to remember that they are based on two different things. So Imbolc is the celebration of Goddess Brigid, who was believed to be, in the folklore that I've read, the part of the Tuatha tribe when they walked the lands of Ireland, and then she passed. And so part of Imbolc is actually, this is her time that she awakens, and she was the representation of the Triple Goddess. So she stood for creation, she stood for healing, and she was a blacksmith. And there's a lot of different triads that are actually associated with Goddess Brigid. And she was looked at, and people associated with her and her energies and the ability to help bring forth babies and to help mothers have safety in their childbirth. Now, Saint Brigid was believed to be born about 12 years after St. Patrick passed away. So that would have been around like 640s EC, so like after Christ, in that time period. She was named after Goddess Brigid. And so could they possibly be either that Saint Brigid had a had Goddess Brigid very close connection and worked with her as one of her guides in this land, that's a possibility. Could they have been a reincarnation of each other? That's absolutely a possibility. And I love that we'll never really know, but like this is something that I've been kind of thinking about. And there's no reason to think that that isn't a possibility. Because Saint Brigid actually had some amazing, powerful skills with healing, with creation, and with craftsmanship. And so she represented and had a lot of the same skills that Goddess Brigid actually held. And so the important distinction between Saint Brigid's, especially celebrated on February 1st, and Imbolc for me, and where I'm bringing this information to you for, is to understand that Saint Brigid was actually such an amazing person that the Catholic Church actually recognized her and put that saint title for her. How cool is that? And so that is where she's recognized on February 1st. And there's a lot of really cool traditions that are based on her and her pet cow that would walk the lands, and you would lay out a piece of white linen for her to bless that you would end up using for healing throughout the next season till she came again. And there's like different like dolls and different activities that you could do with your children that involved representing St. Brigid and giving her a place to sleep so that your house was blessed. And I absolutely love all of that. And there's no reason to not do any of those traditions and celebrate that. But I think that there is a very important that it's very important to actually make the distinction between the two different celebrations. And then Imbolc, which happens to be the first day of spring, there's a lot of stories, and that is associated with Goddess Brigid. And there's a lot of stories and a lot of folklore about how it is, but and why this came to be. But the understanding is that Goddess Brigid, who is like the ultimate mother in my brain, is awakening and lifting up, and I just see these sprouts of greens that pop up everywhere because she's awakened now, and she wants to bring in this new light and this new energy of creation and fulfillment and abundance into your life. And so I don't know about you, but like I've been feeling that, like that feeling, that excitement of growing energy in the air as we've come up to Imbolc. And a lot of times we often get these confused because we don't want to do the math anymore. So Imbolc happens to be one of the cross-quarter days that we celebrate. Some of the cross-quarter days and some, but we don't understand exactly what they are or how to calculate them. So the Imbolc is the midway point between the winter solstice and the spring equinox. Now, I found out this date because of Anthony Murphy. I asked him. He has a Facebook group of the Mystical Ireland, and he also has a wonderful YouTube channel where he talks about all the different folklores and stories. So if you don't know him, you should definitely check him out. Amazing. So I asked him, and he does all the calculation for when this date appears, and so it happens to be today, February 4th. So what can you do to start getting ready for this energy, to be in this energy of Imbolc, and how should you spend this time during this season between Imbolc and the spring equinox? Well, you're in luck, because I'm actually going to do a reading for you today that is going to give you some focus to look at. Now, this specific reading is spread is actually brand new to me. I was gifted it as I started pulling out the cards, so you get to go on a fun little journey with me and understanding this new Triple Goddess Spread that I will probably always be doing for the time during Imbolc. I can definitely do it for people if they request it, but it's definitely associated with this day. So I hope you enjoy. Let's do this. Okay, so the first card of this Madian Mother Crone spread that we're going to be talking about is the Maiden card, and this card is coming in with the Stone 3. Stone 3 is a representation of all of the skill sets that you've acquired during this maiden phase of your life. And sometimes, you know, when we're talking about the triple goddess and the 3 phases, a lot of the times what we're talking about, this can be not only over our whole lifetime, but actually through different seasons, through different healings, processings that we're going through different achievements. You know, you got school sets where you're going into school and you're starting out in your field, you're kind of in the maiden, then you're getting closer to graduation, or you graduate, then that's kind of like the mother area, and then we've got, like, you know, after you graduate, that's that crone. Now you're in the wisdom of it, right? And you're using that wisdom and spreading that wisdom. So this is kind of where we're at and how we use it. So when you hear Mother Maiden Crone, it's not always like, you know, just, oh, when you're a child, and then when you're a mother, and then when you're an elder. This phase and how this works actually goes throughout, just like the seasons. You know, it's a repeating pattern that happens throughout your life. So when we're sitting here and we're looking at the maiden tools that we received, this could be tools that you've just received within the last few seasons of your life in this new journey that you're in of self-discovery and self-love. And so it's about learning what those tools are and how we're going to take and shape those tools and turn those skill sets into something that we can produce and make in our future. So during this Imbolc season, it's very important for you to be recognizing and honoring all the tools you've learned. And I'm really going to go based on this self-love and on this healing journey, because this is really starting to feel, this whole spread is feeling like this is a calling, is time to start recognizing what that calling is, that deep knowing, that soul's purpose. And so we're going to look at the tools that we have. And the tools can be meditation, they can be journaling, they can be dream logging, it can be going to different classes that you've taken. It doesn't always have to be spiritually based. It can be it's just a reflection of seeing and laying out and spreading all your tools and saying, what do I have? And using those tools and that knowledge and being like, oh, I could create this amazing thing with these tools. This is what I want to do, and look at all the tools that I have to start achieving that. Because this is the time, this is the prep time between Imbolc and the spring equinox. This is what we want to do. We're recognizing all of the tools that we have in our armory. We're all in our belt. What do we got? How are we going to start making those things, that soul purpose, coming into fruition? This is a time of creation. What are you going to create with all the tools that you acquired during your maiden season? Okay, coming into the next card, we've got the Mother card, which is an awareness for you to have. So we have the Sword 6 coming in upside down. Now, a lot of this is about struggles or overcoming struggles, or your ability to that you've come so far, you're starting a new journey, all that. That's usually what is held within this Sword 6 card. The sword is the sword of truth, that wisdom that you have to speak for yourself. And coming in with this awareness, I'm really getting this sense that in this next phase of this mother phase of this area where you're recognizing the fact that you have the skills and you have the wisdom, but you may not be giving yourself the credit that you deserve. Imposter syndrome is what's really coming to me, is that you have sort of decided that you can't do what you are supposed to do. You can't be using these maiden skills because you just came out of the maiden. I don't have the knowledge and the will how to start moving towards my goals, or to actually make this and really getting a sense it's kind of like a job position that you're going for, that you may not feel like you're actually adequate for this job, and this job may not even exist currently. It may be something that you are creating for yourself. And it could be in the spiritual realm. I'm really feeling it harder in the spiritual realm, but this can also go for any type of work that you're doing in realty is one that comes to me, marketing. Like, there's so much information out there for everybody to do, and it's really at this time period about using these skill sets that you have to start creating this out of the box ideas in this wisdom, in this caring, nurturing space that you're in, creating for yourself, creating what it is for yourself, like turning that self-love and that self-healing and that self-journey into something that is allowing you to hold yourself in worthiness of what you're doing. So like, turn that way, and that ability that you have as that mother caring figure, turn that all back into you. Like, make sure you're watching what you're saying. What are you reflecting? What words are you using when you're talking about this thing that you're trying to get off the ground? We're using words like hopeful, maybe, I don't know, this is a possibility. Possibility is not necessarily a bad word, but when we're manifesting and when we're creating, we don't go with these like words that are oh, this might work. No, we use the words, this is going to work. This is happening for me. I have the ability to do this. I have the knowledge to do this. I have the will to do this. And this is what I'm supposed to be doing. So this is what I will do. So using those words and watching your voice and how you're actually saying it will actually help redirect, retrain that brain and that like imposter, like, oh, I don't know yet. Like, I'm just starting. Why would people come to me? Like, I don't have as much know-how and knowledge as so-and-so over there. But sometimes when you're in a position where you've been in the field for a very long time, when others are in that field, when they start talking to clients, they start using words that clients don't really understand. And so it actually puts this barrier, this block between a client and a salesperson, I don't know, whatever you want to call yourself, but it puts you in this position where like they're like, what are you talking about? I have no idea. And because clients sometimes don't like to ask questions because they don't want to feel dumb, they won't, and they'll kind of walk away. So sometimes actually being in this state of newness and freshness, like you have the ability to communicate with people on their level, which builds relationships, which builds more clients and better clients, where you don't actually end up having to keep going out. And I'm using the word clients. They could be followers, they could be readers, whatever it is that your personal journey is about. Sometimes being the newbie actually is beneficial because you can connect with people on a different level. That's not like I'm trying to talk to someone who's been in IT their entire life to figure out how to make my Google work, and they're using words and terms that I can't even make up because I don't know what they would be, and so I'm lost. But then you get that, and I'm going to use the word middle management guy, like that person who knows, they know, like they're smart, they're really intelligent, they know what they're talking to, but they haven't been in the world so long that they only use that verbiage. They actually still have that ability to connect and relate to people. So in this time period, remember that you have something to offer to a certain specific group of people that are waiting for you to offer it. And so it's setting down and reframing those words that you're using for yourself to actually start getting your project off the ground. You have to start believing in yourself. So believing yourself as a mother would believe in their child, and give yourself the encouragement a mother would give a child, their child specifically. That's the kind of energy, and that's what you want to be looking at, because otherwise you're going to be stuck in this new journey of having this inspiration, and it's going to fizzle out because it's that shadow self is going to appear and be like, I don't know, this doesn't sound like it's going to be a good idea, I can't do that. So we're going to take the tools of self-love and healing that we've learned, and we're going to start remembering how to apply those continuously, because remember, it's a spiral. What you learn, what you're healing, we're going to, as we go deeper into ourselves, those things are going to start appearing again. So pulling into those tools from your maiden to assisting your mother in your mother season, to allow yourself the permission to encourage yourself the way that a mother would encourage their child, because that's essentially what you are. You're an adult with a child inside who has this inspiration and this creativity and this beginner's mind that you want to pull forward. This is what you're supposed to be doing. This is the call. This is the drive. This is what is going to fill you and fill your cup and make you feel like you're actually achieving something on a daily basis instead of just floating through life. And so take this opportunity to silence that shadow self that's keeping you from taking those steps forward, because it's time. You've got this. I believe in you. Let's move on over to the Crone card. So the Crone card is the Elder. So this is where the Elder is coming in. And what I'm really seeing in this is, like, during this time of Imbolc to the spring equinox, what we've got going here is we've got the time at the beginning to be the maiden, to step in as the mother, and to end in this crone wisdom. So here's one of those seasons that's going. So like, we're reflecting on what our tools are. We're getting all of our shadow work out of the way and giving ourselves permission to do what we want to do. And then we have this Elder coming in as we're popping into the spring equinox. We've got this Elder card coming in, and we have the Grail Hermit. So the Grail Hermit is, well, a hermit by any means, but this isn't used in a negative way. The hermit has figured out how to refocus their lives in what really is mattering and what they're really supposed to be doing. They have created this wisdom, and they're able to reflect on their life and where they are in this moment, and actually bring about and continuing in, I want to say, in their education, because really, like, once you become crone, there's still things to learn. It's not like you become into this crone phase and you're just like, oh, I'm going to be done. I'm done. I've learned it all. There's still things to learn. There's still things to be, but not only to learn, but there's things to be taught. And sometimes those things that you can be teaching is actually ending up teaching to yourself. And so during this season of this little triple goddess, what we've got going here, and what I'm seeing with this awareness that's coming in for this Grail Hermit, is to really focus in and like dial into what it is that you want to achieve, and start allowing the things that are going to move you away from those things that are going to put your focus into a different direction, allowing those things to just kind of fall away. And that's what really what kind of a hermit does, right? The knowledgeable person, the knowledgeable crone, doesn't allow the minor things, doesn't allow those things to come into their life that's going to be a distraction. And a really good example of something to do with this is actually to start living more intentionally. So everything that you're doing, like, what is your intention? Is your intention, and I'm going to say that this is to start following that heart call, to start following that true purpose, because that's what this reading is about, is, everything you do, like going out to this show tonight, is that going to be something that fills my cup? What is the purpose of me going out? Why am I going out to this thing? Am I living in FOMO? Do I have the energy to go out? Do I have the finances to go out? If I go out tonight, how's that going to affect my tomorrow? Do I have things to do? Start really looking at those questions and start living. And that's how we start living our life intentionally, especially if we're really focused on that heart call. Because if you're in this FOMO, fear of missing out, and always trying to spread yourself too thin, you're not going to be able to get into the nitty-gritty of creation, because you're not allowing yourself the healing time or the energy to put towards what you actually want to do. And so, yes, people and friends can be like, oh, you're such a bummer, you don't come out anymore, what are you doing, why are you doing it like this? And if they have a problem with it, that's their problem. This is about you and what you want to do. And if you're living intentionally, be like, this, me focusing on this stuff has nothing to do with you. It's not that I don't want to go do these things. It's just that this is my focus right now. This is what I am working on. This is my achievements that I'm working towards. And so when you stand in that power of knowing that this isn't about if someone else is a time vampire or an energy vampire that's coming into your world and we're just going to let those people go, right? This is about the people that really matter in your life. And it's okay, well, thank you for the invite. Don't never not invite me. Just allow me to give it a minute to think about whether or not this is actually going to be something that is good for this time period for me, because what we're focusing on is going to allot for all the time in the world to do that. But sometimes in order to get where we need to go and to manifest things, we have to do certain sacrifices. And so if we're not making those sacrifices, we're not bringing in that fruition. And sometimes that sacrifice is going to a show, is going out to that dinner, going out to that party, going out to that movie, whatever it is. Sometimes that's the sacrifice. The time is the sacrifice. What you're really focusing on is the work that you're putting in. Because this is important. This is what will fill you. This is what's going to open the doors for all those things that you dream about. This is the time. This is the energy. Take advantage of it. If you're in the spot, if you're listening to this right now, that means that you are in this place to start doing it. It doesn't mean that you are going to achieve it right now. Maybe you're just in the beginning phases of it. But these are the things that you need to be looking at if you want to start bringing forth all that stuff you've been talking about. This is it, right here. Looking at the tools, discovering what the tools are, using those tools to continue to show yourself the worthiness that you have and the ability that you have to do things, to be a creator, and then taking all of that knowing and reclusing a little bit and taking a little bit of sacrifice of the worldly desires to actually bring about forth what you want and what's going to fill you. I promise it's worth it. So now we're going to look within. So we've got the Madian Mother Crone here, and so this is what's held within. This is the healing within that we're going to be looking at for this season during the time of Imbolc to the spring equinox. And so we've got your herbal message coming in as upside down as an awareness. So we've got the card for echinacea and destiny. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with echinacea, but echinacea is a powerhouse of a plant. Its healing medicine is absolutely amazing. But the thing about echinacea and about the word destiny is both of these things in my mind, echinacea in general, destiny, this is kind of just this is an idea, like destiny comes in and echinacea comes in, and they're just so sweet. They're just, I'm here, I can do all this amazing things for you, but I'm just gonna wait for you ready. I don't want to bother anyone. I'm just here, like we're just gonna go on through, no big deal, nobody pay attention to me. And so like with echinacea, as beautiful a plant as it is, like it needs some kind of expectorant to go with it, something that makes it exciting, so something that brings forward that enthusiasm. It's a powerful antibacterial, antiviral. I live over here in Idaho. Echinacea is really good for hobo spider bites because it helps break down the venom that's in it. Which, what? Okay, that's really cool. But it needs something that's going to spark that fire and spark that desire to actually do its work, because it's so kind and gentle that it doesn't want to bother anyone. It doesn't want to rock the boat if it doesn't have to. And so what can you do for yourself that keeps that fiery flame? I really am feeling this kind of in that sacral chakra area, to help this destiny coming through, to help this echinacea and this plant coming through. What are you going to put with it that's going to inspire something? Just because this is something that I normally do, and this is a wonderful combination for me. I really love using echinacea with peppermint. And peppermint is amazing. Like, it's an herb that actually does a lot of the similar things to echinacea, but it also helps relieve any type of like muscle tension. So like when you have a headache, it helps reduce that, and so like it kind of allows your body to help relax itself. And so this is supposed to be about echinacea, but this destiny, but this message that I'm getting is it's here, it's waiting for you. This awareness this is right in front of you, this possibility and this desire to do it. But what are you going to use alongside of it? What kind of oomph are you going to have to push yourself to keep going? Because it's really easy to give up, especially if you get into the mindset of imposter syndrome and that shadow self starts coming in and says things, and then you get over here to this crone area where just like, gosh, I'm just really missing out on everything. What are you going to add to yourself and to your fire to help spark and keep going, so that you're not just like, oh, I don't want to rock the boat, just gonna squeeze on in here? What are you gonna add to your echinacea, is the way I'm gonna say it, to really bring forward all of that ness? It's up to you. It can be whatever you want, but what is it gonna do? What is gonna keep that fire burning? That is what destiny and echinacea are asking for you in this time period. So now, after all of this, we're still within, we're looking within. What's the next card? What's the healing we're going to be looking at? And the healing and the awareness is coming in as patience. And you're like, oh, how is that a healing? Well, because a lot of the time we sit in this reality of instant gratification. I have that issue too, right? Like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to put this out, and there's going to be 800 people that view this and love this. But if it's my first one I've ever done, that expectation, that knowledge, like, yeah, I will get 800 people that end up watching this video. I will. Or more. But it's not going to happen tonight. It may not happen tonight. And so it's like setting that expectation that, like, you can do this. You have the ability to do it, but sometimes you have to wait for that to percolate. Sometimes you have to wait for the energy to build. Sometimes you have to wait for things to pull up. This world that we live in, though, is amazingly abundant and has everything in our life that we wish to offer. Sometimes it requires some patience to build that energy up, to start sending that light out, to start building the client basis. It's not something that you should feel like you're struggling with. If it's a struggle, then we've got to start rethinking, well, what can we do differently? But if it's just like, okay, then putting this out there and it's taking a little bit of time to come in, and that's just fine. It's fine. What, like, if I feel like I'm doing the right thing, then that's not, if you're looking at it and you're just like, no, something really feels off, I need to take a deeper dive. Maybe I need to start looking at some other skill sets that I have to start bringing this forward, or learning from other crones that have this information. There's just this real simple ask to remember that patience is always part of the process. The spirit realm and our realm work on two different timelines, because the spirit area up here, they don't see time in our constructed way. And so sometimes it takes just a little bit longer and a little bit more faith and patience and trust in the process to see everything that you want come into fruition. And so remember that this whole season, and I've said it before and I'll continue to say it, like, when we're setting goals and we're starting to do this is not like, I'm going to do this. Let's look at it this way. Like, if you were saying, like, I want to lose 50 pounds, and I want to lose 50 pounds strictly on diet. I don't want to exercise. I don't want to do this, but I just want to change my diet and lose 50 pounds. Well, what kind of diet are you going to have, and when do you expect to lose that 50 pounds? Are you going to be bummed within the first couple of weeks at changing your diet? You haven't lost that 50 pounds? Are you going to keep going with it? Are you going to keep seeing it? Or are you going to give up? And so that's kind of like the energy of when we're working towards our life's purpose is that we've got to remember that sometimes it does take a little bit of time. Sometimes it does take a little bit, especially if you're working in the spiritual realm, there's this relationship that you need to build with people to get them to trust and follow you, and to remember that or to recognize that you are the help that they're seeking. And sometimes you'll meet people in the spiritual realm where they're just not meant to work with you, and that's fine, and you let them go, and you said, that's cool, I'm glad to hear maybe there's these other people can help you out, and so it's just remembering that there's patience in building, and like that we don't want to just have any average client that's just going to pop in, and we don't want to constantly keep looking for new clients. We don't want to keep looking for new customers all the time. We want people that we're building a relationship with that are going to be meaningful. A really good example I have for that is, like, I've been gaining followers on Facebook and my Facebook page for Mystic Wisdom, and a lot of those are different business entrepreneurs, and I love that. I love supporting the local communities, and I love supporting and seeing different healers there, different craftsmen, and all those things, because I want to support that, because wow, you guys are just going for it with your life goals. But what I'm noticing is a lot of these people are doing the follows, which are amazing, and I definitely participated in that. But at the same time, there's like no engagement on the page, and so it's like, yes, these are amazing followers, these are amazing connections to have, but are they the quality of clients that I want? Are they people that I can build a relationship with, or are they just popping in and tuning in so that they can receive that reciprocation back? And is that like the only thing that's validating them? The only thing that is important to them, is it getting their follower numbers up because that's all they're ever posting about? Like, is that really what I want my client base to look like? Is that really what I want all my followers to look like? I want my followers to be ones who are engaging with my content and who are loving my content and receiving valuable information that they're looking for from my content. It's not that these people are doing anything wrong, and I don't even know if that's what they're doing. It's just what I'm looking at. And so to remember, and the whole point of me saying that was just to remember that when we're building up our heart call, when we're building up our life purpose, especially if it's a business that we're looking to start to get away and break out of the construct of like the capitalistic like idea of what business should be, sometimes we've got to remember it's not about seeing the most people. It's about seeing the quality of people, hitting our right target audience. And sometimes that takes patience, one, to even figure out what audience you want to be hitting. Mine's changed so many times over because I really didn't know who I and so I was like, I want all the people. I want to heal everyone and anyone who wants to heal with me. I want to heal them. I really want to heal the queers. And I really, that's my focus. I'm only going to heal the queers. And because, we need it. And then, I had this huge shift where I was like, oh, well, look at what clients I'm looking at. The clients I'm looking at are actually all these clients that, like, who I'm offering free sessions to and who I'm offering to, like, get to know them, like, they're actually other healers. And so, I've had to work with this, like, these kinds of feelings myself, and especially that imposter syndrome, to remember that this is what the heart call is. I can still heal the queers. I still want to do all that. I still want to work with anybody who wants to work with me. It's to heal them. But my main focus of who I'm looking for is actually those light workers, those light walkers, those healers. Like, that's kind of like my main focus. But it has taken me almost 4 years to figure out that is what I wanted. And so that's kind of like part of the patience. It's recognizing the trial and error. And it's not like I've had 0 clients the entire time. It just took me a while. It took me some patience and understanding of what I was being called to do to find that. And so that whole story given to you is just an example of why patience and having patience is important, because we want the quality of what is actually going to serve you in your job, in your passion, in your life's calling. We want the quality to be the best, so that it is not only for your highest good, but for the highest good of those coming to you. I want to thank everybody for watching this. I really hope that this resonated with you, that you got some good information, some good understandings about this energy and how to use it during this season of Imbolc. From now until the spring equinox, we're going to look at that Madian Mother Crone and that healing within that we're focusing on in order to really kickstart and jumpstart anything we're trying to achieve during this 2024 season. Thank you and for bearing with me as I actually unfolded and understood how this reading, which I've never done before, actually it was gifted as I was drawing the cards, came out, and I really appreciate you for sticking around and seeing all of that. So if you would like to do any type of deeper work with me, that is always a possibility. I do have a website, www.mysticwisdomhealing.com, where I do remote readings, where I can have a reading that's specifically directed at you. I also do Reiki energy healing, and I have a session that's an active listening session called Spill the Tea, where you just get to vent at somebody who's holding space in a non-judgmental form that's sitting and just listening to you. So if any of this interests you, just head over to my website, www.mysticwisdomhealing.com, and check it out for yourself. Thank you again for watching, and as always, happy healing. I look forward to seeing you guys when the dark moon reading comes.